If there's one album in all of jazz that perfectly captures the poetry of three musicians breathing as one, it's Waltz for Debby by Bill Evans Trio. From the opening notes, this isn't just music, it's intimacy, it's vulnerability. But today, we're not just marveling at the artistry, it is the kind of record that turns your listening space into a small jazz club venue with every creak of a piano bench and clink of a cocktail glass pulling you deeper in. We're here to talk about how this masterpiece sounds on two very different but exceptional vinyl pressings. The Craft OJC reissue and the Analogue Productions UHQR 45 RPM. This isn't just about clarity or frequency response, it's about how the emotional weight of Evans's piano, Scott LaFaro's lyrical bass, and Paul Motion's whispering cymbals translate through your resolving vinyl playback system. It's about how close these records get to making you feel like you were there at the Village Vanguard, New York City in June of 1961. Before we get into sonics, let's talk a little bit about the trio, because no format, no mastering, no pressing plant magic matters unless the music itself is alive. Bill Evans, already a rising legend, plays here with aching delicacy. He never overstates. His chords bloom and decay like breath, quick and alive. The title track, Waltz for Debby, is written for his young niece, feels like a lullaby for the soul. It's lyrical, complex, without flash. Scott LaFaro, this album is as much his masterpiece as it's Evans. His bass playing is melodic. He doesn't just support, he dances with the piano. Listen to the track, My Foolish Heart, and you will hear what made him a genius. Tragically, he died just 10 days after these sessions, which makes every note here even more precious. And Paul Motion, subtle is an understatement. His style never shouts, it suggests. His cymbal work on the track Detour Ahead is like a distant rainfall, always felt, rarely noticed until it stops. This is probably one of my favorite tracks of Bill Evans Trio. This trio doesn't solo in the traditional sense. They speak, they listen, their interplay is chamber-like, conversational, and heartbreakingly beautiful. Now let's get into what you're really here for, how this album sounds on vinyl. The OJC pressing, mastered from the original analog tapes by Kevin Gray, is nothing short of impressive, especially at its price point. The pressing is clean, it's quiet, the piano has that trademark Bill Evans glow, it's rounded and warm without sounding veiled. LaFaro's bass is agile and musical, though slightly less defined than on higher end pressings, which we'll get to soon. Motion's cymbals shimmer beautifully. The Craft reissue invites you in. It's intimate, cohesive, and musical. It captures the atmosphere of the Village Vanguard without trying to spotlight every detail. It's more about how the trio sounds together than isolating individual parts. If you're coming to this album as a music lover and as an audiophile with a very good resolving playback system, the Craft OJC is a no-brainer. It respects the soul of the recording, and frankly, it punches far above its price. I enjoy spinning this version on my LP12 sound deck and iTalk LB2 tone arm fitted with a Dynavector 10X5 Mark II. But then there's the UHQR 45 RPM from Analogue Productions. This is a true heavyweight in every sense, pressed on Clarity vinyl, housed in a deluxe box, spread across 4 sides. This edition is for the listener who wants everything, and it delivers. The most immediate differences between the two is presence. On the UHQR, Bill Evans piano doesn't just sound like it's in the room, it feels like it's breathing in it. Each keystroke has texture, Harmonics hang in the air longer. You hear the weight of the fingers, the creak of the pedal. It's not louder, it's deeper. The improvement in sonics is noticeable clearly on my LP12 Dynavector setup, but it's a whole nother level on a setup like the Riga P10 with the Shelter Harmony moving coil. LaFaro's bass is startling in detail. The pluck of a string, the decay of a note, the microdynamic shifts between the phrases, it's all here. The separation between instruments, it's dramatic, yet never clinical. Instead of just hearing a trio, you see their positions outlined clearly in space. Motion's right cymbal in the track My Romance gains definition. The attack, shimmer, and decay are more realistic, with more realism. Brushes on the snare have an almost tactile softness, like you can feel the wire bristles across the drum head. One thing to note though, with this level of resolution, you also hear more room noise, more tape hiss, more coughs and clinks from the club. But that's the point. This pressing doesn't just reproduce the music, it restores the scene. So which one should you get? The Craft OJC is the people's sonic champion. Affordable, honest, and beautifully mastered. It gives you the full emotional experience of Waltz for Debby without needing a $10,000 vinyl playback front end. But the Analogue Productions UHQR, it's for the listener with a top-tier turntable setup who wants to live inside the music. It reveals nuances that even long-time fans will hear anew. It's more demanding of your system and your wallet. But this is one of my desert island albums, and it's worth every penny in my opinion. Waltz for Debby isn't just one of the great jazz albums. It's one of the great musical moments ever committed to tape. Whether you hear it through the warm and accessible Craft OJC or the hyper-realism of the Analogue Productions UHQR, the emotional truth is incredibly moving. Bill Evans just didn't play the piano, he spoke with it. And LaFaro and Motion didn't just follow, they conversed. Their sound was empathy in musical form. So which version is better? The answer depends on your setup and what you value more, emotional immersion or sonic revelation. But either way, you'll be hearing the ghosts of the Village Vanguard venue whisper in high fidelity. If you found this comparison helpful, I've got more in-depth reviews of essential jazz reissues from Moonbeams and other classics right on here on the Analogue Holic channel. Make sure to subscribe and check out the description for links to both of these versions and to stereo gear that I recommend. And as always, drop a comment. I'd love to hear what pressings moved you.